Start. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to night two, final night of the STAR class final project presentations. We get to see your portfolios that you've been working hard on for the past 16 weeks. Very exciting. So first off, congratulations for making it through the course. I know it was a lot of work, and I'm sure it was really hard doing all of the juggling life and school and work and everything. So pat yourselves on the back. We're very proud of you that you've been able to accomplish everything you've been able to accomplish in the past 16 weeks. And we're excited to see you growing going forward as you move into advanced classes or take your next step in development journey. So with that being said, we are going to start off and get the ball rolling. Marissa, you are our first presenter. So whenever you're ready, take it away. And don't forget to unmute yourself.
All right, just give me a second and I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, looks great.
Awesome. All right, so here's my website. Up here, I have my nav bar. And so when you hover, just have it turn a nice shade of blue. Here I have my bio section. After a lot of trial and error, I was able to put my photo in. I have my skill section down here, listing everything that I've learned so far. And I use Flexbox to kind of get these to all look nice and spaced apart, and to kind of get them to look, to kind of get like a nice button shape. Down here, I have my experience section, and I believe I use a grid for this to get it all spaced out. Down here, I also have my projects. So when you hover, they kind of have a nice little effect where they move, and they also change color. And so these are the two projects that I have so far. And then here's my leave a message section. So I've pre-filled this out. In order to make this form right here, I use a grid. And so I also have a preset message here. So it just says, hey, everybody, leave a message using the bar above. So what should happen is when somebody, when somebody submits the form, it should replace that. And so let's just say somebody else, leave a message. It should also add after. And the remove button also works to remove main messages. And then down here, I just have some icons. And copyright with the year. And so go ahead and pull up. Okay, so if you were looking at this on an iPhone, what I did is I made my header, so my name up here and then my nav bar, I made it collapse, or it goes into a column instead. Also up here, I made the bio section that also goes into a nice column. These wrap, so they flow nicely. And using grid and Flexbox was really helpful to kind of make this a smooth process too. When I was using my media queries. And yeah, that's everything that kind of helped with just making it look nicely on something like an iPhone.
That's great. Good job, Marissa. We also like to know what was the biggest challenge for you and what was the thing that you liked the best or your favorite part about the project?
So on this project, I would say the hardest thing for me was actually, so these banners, I guess you want to call them, getting all these banners across the actual color. Every time I would do it, there would awkwardly be a piece not fully filling up the screen. And so when I finally got the footer, it would actually break one of these up here. So that was probably a really frustrating thing that I ran into while actually designing the project. And I guess, so this is more related to content, but I think what I'm most proud of is kind of when we're hitting the later parts, when we can like fetch requests and everything, we got more into callbacks. There's so many different ways to write a function in JavaScript. And so callbacks and error functions, I really had to dig into that. And just becoming familiar with that syntax and then how it worked with event listeners. So that's something that I'm proud of. I feel decent about now.
That's great. Wonderful job. Well done. Way to go. Anybody have any questions or comments that they want to share? I know there's been a bunch of stuff popping up in the chat. All right, very good. Well, we will proceed on. Our next presenter is going to be Curtis. So whenever you're set, Marissa, you can end share. There should be like a pop-up button at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. You got it. Sometimes the Zoom connection, as far as like stop share, always winds up getting hidden behind so many other things since it's that teeny little bar. So, all right, whenever you're ready, Curtis, go ahead and take it away.
Everyone hear me? Okay. All right, screen share. All right. I started out with this. Can you see it? Okay. This was a total nightmare. And let me go. This is what I ended up changing everything to. So if you click on my name up here, it will take you to my GitHub. If you click on the About section, I also have a link there. Experience, skills. I also have it where you can link to my projects.
Curtis, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you working with multiple screens? We're still only seeing the first screen.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
That's fine. I was like, when you click on your name,
Hold up.
I do that too. I wind up selecting like screen 2 when I meant screen 1 or vice versa. Oh, wow. That's great. All right, take it away.
All right. So yeah, okay. If you click on my name or up here, it'll take you to my GitHub. I also have my About. It brings it up. Experience. I don't have, really coding experience, but skills. My projects will link to my projects. Got my content. I put my leave a message here. So, my trying to move this bar. Sorry, I'm like panicked. So I have it to where it'll scroll if a message is long or something like that. And then I have my remove button to where, it's colors, just like my submit button. And I also put my GitHub down here with the link to my GitHub. And the entire background is run by CSS and HTML. And it's just one, the stars are generated by a code snippet in my HTML, but everything else is CSS.
What was the biggest challenge and what was your favorite part? And if we could also see what it looks like on a smaller device screen too.
On a smaller screen, it will start to shrink down. I need to fix that box. I was working on that. But if you notice, the the planet shrinks down, the letters, everything. Yeah, I just had to fix that box. That was the last thing I was trying to work on. Yeah, the hardest part was just getting things to work. Because my roommate, he could program, so he was I kept getting close. He'd be like, "You're close," and then for 30 minutes to an hour, he would sit over my shoulder and be like, "You're close, you're close, you're close," and so I was pulling my hair out, and and then I would just eventually I would get it, you know. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of complications with this. So, yeah, and figuring out what did I wanted to do, that was the hardest part.
All right, good job. Well done. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yeah, the colors are really fun, especially if you're applying for jobs in a more design oriented field. I think they'll really enjoy all of the use of color. All right, great. All right, well, if anybody doesn't have any other questions, then we'll proceed on. Richard is going to be our next presenter.
All right, can y'all see that?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So this is my website. Up at the top, I just have my name, and I have my links to about, experience, skills, and contact. So at the top, I have a little blip about myself, from Burlington, North Carolina. For education and experience, I've listed some of the jobs that I've had, and the degree that I'm currently pursuing. And when you click on the name of it, it takes you over to the program website. And then down here in skills, I have different flex boxes for JavaScript, HTML, Microsoft Access, and Archive Space. And when you hover over the button, it gives just a little blip about where I got that skill from in relation to my education and experience section. So Archive Space and Microsoft Access, I got at my job at the library. And then for projects, the links take you to my GitHub repository for each of them. And the messages pretty basic. Submit it, and it adds one down here at the bottom. Remove to take it away. And then for my footer, I just have my name and the year, and then 2 links to my general GitHub page, not related to my repositories. And then, let me move this. And then my LinkedIn that people could go to interact on social media.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Richard.
Yeah.
Can we see what it looks like responsive when you have it on a smaller device?
Yeah, so I was not able to get that to work.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I had struggled with at like the very end. So yeah, gonna try and
Yeah, it
iron
can
those
be
kinks
tricky.
out. Yeah,
CSS,
sure.
it's one of those things that's like it doesn't work, and then it
Yeah,
does, and then sometimes it breaks something else.
yeah.
What was
And
your favorite part, and what was your biggest challenge?
so my favorite part, I think my favorite part was just kind of putting everything together, like how it just culminated at the end. But that was my favorite. But the hardest part for me was just like, taking of what I wanted it to look like in my mind and actually like putting that down onto my Visual Studio. So I had spent a lot of time like just drawing out, okay, name up top, skills about, and everything. So I burned through a lot of trees trying to draw out what my website was supposed to look like.
Sometimes putting pen to paper is just the best way to
Yeah,
work through something. So that
yeah,
works.
for sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Does anybody have any other questions or comments they'd like to share? Yeah, somebody had mentioned about the hover for your skills section. That was a very cool feature to add. I think that's really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. I was wondering if you're planning to continue to try to make it responsive. Are you going to keep working on that
Yeah,
part?
yes. So I have some stuff on I have just an ungodly amount of paper of like ideas of how I think stuff will work. So in the last little bit of my break, I am going to try and actually get it to mold together, because every time I try to run it, it would just break the main site. So that's gonna be a kink that I have to iron out. But of course,
Yeah, no, it looks great. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be some mentors who'd be willing to help if you reach out too. But awesome job.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and for everybody, if there's anything that you want to keep working on your portfolios, feel free to use that all student convo and the general Slack channels to be able to reach out to peers and to previous alumni, anybody that's on those channels that can help you out as you want to kind of iron out any wrinkles that are in your portfolio and or just keep adding to it as you learn more stuff. But yeah, great. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is going to be Quanasia. Hi, Quanasia. Yep, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start sharing.
I'm going green. Cute.
There you go.
Right. So I have. Wait, should I do desktop instead? Open up as well. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. There we go. We see your
Oh,
page now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know why it's a main page, my main portfolio. Where you have my name, and the header above, a paragraph that I made. So going back to about just me and for and things I'm interested in learning in the future. And we have 2 sets of skills. We have hard skills and soft skills. And I'm still debating if I want to do the box layout that everyone else has, or if I just want to keep it. And then here we have a list of projects that I was able to get the links for. The screen share is currently only showing this screen. So just to let you know, but they do work. And then here we have leave a message box, which is like my proudest moment right here. So I'm just kind of going like a bunch of just random text. And hit submit, and boom. And you can no, oh, terrible. And you can also save it. Gmail, my LinkedIn, and then we have my GitHub as well, which all of these links, one just sends you to my general GitHub page. And my LinkedIn sends you this my LinkedIn page, and to see if it works well on mobile devices as well. So, well, that's the wrong one. All right. That it kind of responds pretty well, but it is kind of like a simple. Oh, it just hates this layout. Like every other one is kind of fine. Galaxy, I don't know. I try to play with it more, but yeah. But yeah, that's my.
Awesome. What was your favorite part and what was your biggest challenge?
Art was making this mini bar. My biggest challenge was making that edit button. Shout out to Treehouse. But yeah, I made it. Like I could get to the part where you type in your input, but whenever it would save, like it just wouldn't save. It would give me an error. I was like, I don't understand this error, but I eventually figured it out.
Awesome. Yeah, sometimes you
Yeah.
just gotta have to
Yep.
power
So
through.
there's my page.
That's great. Thank you for sharing, Quinija. That was great. Anybody have any other questions or comments they'd like to share? All right. Next up is Amara. And please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name, because again, I usually see names typed and I don't get to hear the person say how their name's pronounced. So please correct me if anything's wrong.
It's Amira.
Amira, thank you.
Yeah, Amira Munad. And let me share my screen. So can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you and we can see.
Oh, okay. So this is my website. And first is the header. In order to make my website, I initially used the grid layout. First is the header, bottom is the footer, and then I have my main div, and on the side, I have my content div. On my header, I have all these navigation tabs, and inside the main, I nested another grid for these columns. And on the footer, this copyright image is coming directly from the JavaScript. And below is the links which directly connect to my GitHub or, so let me go back. Okay. And again to my LinkedIn. So they are connecting. And the next page is my about. So I have put some like things about myself. And then comes the skill section. And then the projects. And finally, in the project section, sorry, I forgot to mention that skill section, all these, my skills are coming directly from JavaScript as per the rubric. And in the project section, the GitHub slideshow, these are my GitHub repos, which are directly coming from the GitHub through JavaScript. And then comes and here's the like little animation, which I added. So, and then comes the next section. Here is my message box. So, when I type the message, it submits the message at the bottom. And when I click the remove button, it goes away. And let me show you how responsive my site is, even though I'm still working on it, but it is. So that's it.
Great. What was your favorite part of the project and what was your biggest challenge?
Favorite part, I like designing. So picking out like different items according to my site. And the challenge is using the grid, especially when in the front, in my home page, when I have to nest a grid inside the grid, and not just only the nesting part, but I wanted to create 3 columns. I want to keep this heading on the top, and again, the small headings on the top of the columns. So that is very challenging. But with the help of mentors and continuously trying and failing for like so many days, because I redid my website in the last week. Initially, I was making a very simple website, but now I connected with the JavaScript and using Grid and Flexbox. So for the header and the footer, I use the Flexbox. But for my main section and for my contents, I use the Grid.
That's a good feat to be able to attempt both and pull off both. That's really good. I like that you did the borders around the different parts of your grid. When I was very first learning how to work with CSS years ago, that was the only way that I could wrap my head around like figuring out where different divs were that I wanted to manipulate was I gave everything a border. And so it gave me like this wonderful, happy, nostalgic feel of when I started learning CSS. It's great. Does,
Yeah,
any, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to share? All right. Thank you so much for presenting.
thank you.
Well done. All right. Next up is
And
going
I
to be
would like to, yeah, thanks all the mentors who helped me in my journey.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. We have some really awesome volunteer mentors. Thank you for those of you that are on the call that are with us that were mentored. I think John might be the only one, but thank you, John. All right, and Lawrence is going to be up next. So whenever you're ready, Lawrence, go ahead and take it away.
I think you're still muted, Lawrence. We can't hear you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm a newbie to Zoom. So I sent a link to it's live. My portfolio is live. If anybody wants to like interact with it in real time, that's the link. So let's see. Oh, I'm minimizing. So I have the nav bar. So you click on it, it'll go to about skills, so experience, projects, connect. I'm also really bad at copy, so like I just have some lorem ipsum filler. I need to hire a copywriter. So I also have a footer with all my social media, you know, GitHub. There's a copyright that's dynamically generated via JavaScript. See what else? Yeah, these are like from an array, and then using JavaScript, they're outputted to the screen. Oh, so there are programs that like scrape websites for emails, like spam you. So I tried to implement some kind of like to block web crawlers from like harvesting my email. So that this email, this whole text is dynamically generated. So I have to update that with more like actual stuff. Here's demo my message part. So name one. Two. Dynamically. So my favorite part during this whole experience was interacting with the mentors, like learning from them, talking to them, hearing their experiences. I think that was the best part. And the thing I struggle with most is CSS. I'm still struggling with it. It's not design. It's not one of my strengths. Yeah. Right. Beginning.
That's great. Do you mind showing us the
Oh, yeah, the
responsiveness to it?
responsiveness.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks, Lawrence.
So for my responsive, I just hit the tool, the nav bars. So like here, so I hit the nav bar, and then here I hit this stuff, and I just so that it's a little bit, you know, yeah, I have to fix this part a little bit. Yeah.
Well done. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for putting the link in the chat too, so that way people can see it and interact. And that was a really cool thing that you pointed out too about the spam blocker and, various security features. That's something that is always good to keep in touch with, even though we're kind of more on the building side. It's always good to dabble in security a little bit as well. Thanks for sharing, Lawrence. All right, our next presenter is going to be Sam. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and pull up your screen and share with us. We are looking forward to seeing you. And don't forget to unmute. Yep, there you go. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Let's. Okay, that's right. Oh, this thing is on the way. Where is it? All right. Give me just 1 second. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. So this is my website. I have the menu right here is responsive. It changes colors when you hover over it. I have the about. I'm saying that I'm a web developer. I'm just manifesting that. I am not yet, but just manifesting that energy, putting that energy out there. I have the experience, my current job. The skills are down here. I use a mix of grid and flex. I did grid here, and the projects are over here. You can click on them and it will take you to the repository. And let me go back. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I have the leave a message part. And it will show up down here. We can remove it and have the some icons down here in the footer where it will take you to my GitHub, my LinkedIn, and my Instagram, where I do drawings and art. Here's my name at the bottom, and I really like colorful stuff, so it was challenging for me to keep it kind of like just very neutral, like make it look really clean. That was super challenging. I was like, all the colors, I wanted them in my website, and I choose in the background is I have a GIF that makes it look like really cool, I think. And some of them, another thing that was really challenging for me was JavaScript, basically adding a class through JavaScript. I was really confused about that. But I'm really excited that I know how to do that now. Also, grid was challenging as well. I wanted to do more boxes, but I wanted to show the background too. And the responsiveness, it works. It changes whenever it goes to like around 600. So you can see the menu starts moving a little bit. My name changes. And that was also challenging because things were just going everywhere at first, but it's working. Yep.
Great, very good. Job well done. I really do like that animation in the back. It's very eye-catching. It kind of mesmerizes you and makes you want to just keep staring and reading.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, any other questions or comments? Anything anybody wants to share? Okay, we'll move on to our next presenter. Dennis W. will be our next presenter. Whenever you're set, go ahead and share.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, so this is my profile page. Up top, I have a few of my navigation bar and all of those work. And I played around with the scroll bar a little bit to kind of get that to coincide with the screen. My leave a message section. So both of those work. And this does take you to my GitHub page. And let's see. If I shrink that down. So I was able to hide my navigation bar as well as the GitHub link here, but I went ahead and added this icon here since it was removed. And I think that's it.
That's great. What was your favorite part and what was your biggest challenge, Dennis?
It's the same thing. Favorite part and biggest challenge was the leave a message section. So that took a while, just getting the functionality, just getting that to work kind of took me a while, but once I got it, it was kind of just a sense of accomplishment.
That's great. Yeah, I'm the same way. Usually my biggest challenge also is the thing that I'm proudest of when I finally get it functional. So I can really relate. Well done. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to share? All right, so on to our last presenter of the evening, Dennis Ivanov. You are up next.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you just fine.
All right. Could you see the screen? Right. So here is my website. Up on the top, I have my name, which just links to my page website. Here is a navigator. When you hover it, it changes the color and just becomes a little bit bigger. This is my about section. It's all linked experience, skills, projects. This is my message section. It shows the message, who wrote this, and links to him, to his email address. And you could also remove this. Also footer with the copywriting, my name, year, date, and 2 links to my GitHub. And email address. Here's the how it works with the on the phone. The navigator just becomes this. The hardest part for me was designing how the colors fonts look like, so you could read it. And my favorite part was a JavaScript, the connecting it to the HTML. That's what I liked. Okay.
Great. It looks great. Thank you for sharing. I do have a quick question for you. The borders that you have around your skills, how did you make those? Because they have almost like a metallic look to them. They look really cool.
I could
Is it
show
just like
you.
white on the top and left and then gray on the bottom and right?
As you can see, actually, it took me a very long time to do this, but yeah, it's just the radius, border style, offset, and then yeah.
Very cool. It has a very nice look to it. All right, thanks so much for sharing. Dennis, does anybody have any other questions or comments they'd like to share? All right, well, that takes care of all of our presentations for the STAR class. Thank you all so much for your hard work. Give yourselves pats on the back and congratulatory celebrations and, you know, scream and yell and jump around your room. It's all done. I think y'all pulled it off very well. You've done a lot of hard work and it shows. Lori, was there anything you wanted to add?
Just congratulations, everyone. Everybody did a really great job. Love to see. I always think it's so cool when, even though everybody is working with, you know, the same rubric and, you know, you sort of the same assignment, each one looks so different and, you know, interesting, and everybody has their own take on it, and everybody did a great job. Well done. Way to go.
Yeah, it is fun to watch the final projects because we get to see your all's personalities come through this project that is usually just like, oh, okay, here's everything we know is supposed to be in there. And you give those pops of color and those cool ways of arranging them. And it's just really great to be able to see everybody come out on screen that way. So thank you all again. Well done. And that concludes your STAR class. So we'll be in touch to let you know next steps as far as what class you're preferring to go into and acceptance into that and that kind of process. So just keep an eye on your emails that you had given us when you had initially signed up for that STAR class. Any announcements and things will be sent out that way. And great job, everyone. Thank you all so much.
So I saw in the